Hey leaders, got another video for you this week. Really excited about this topic. I don't know why every time that I film a video, it looks so disheveled. It's like I'm like, you know what? I look like crap today, so today is a perfect day to film a leader video. One day I'm just gonna come and have my hair done and in a suit, and it's gonna be just so well produced. But in the meantime, I'm gonna see if how low the video quality can get and how low my overall look can get, and see if you still respect me. So let's go with that. I hope you guys are enjoying the second day of spring. All the flowers and grass that are around are just absolutely beautiful. So really take in the spring warmth and grass and greenery. All jokes aside, yeah, spring hopefully brings actual warm weather soon. But here's what I want to talk to you about today with groups, and I'm sending this to both middle school and high school leaders because I think this is something that is applicable for everyone. I think this is actually applicable outside of just your group context, and I hope that this transforms the way maybe the adult group you're in, the student group that you're leading, and just in your life. So my best friend, he reads a lot of books, and him and I just have a great relationship over the years. I think I've told in sermons how he's encouraged me in different spots in my life. And he is just like the way the Spirit works in his life in a lot of ways is the way that the words he speaks just give people strength and energy. And he said this to me one time. He was reading a book, and it talked about, this book said, something that never goes out of style is being genuine. And so he looked at me, and I remember because I don't know if you guys meet me, I'm not like very stylish, and you guys, you know that you're like, yeah, you don't have to tell us you're not super cool, you know, and I don't strive to be cool. I'm not trying to know all the hip language and know everything, but what I want students to always know from me is that they're getting the real, genuine me. There's not Pastor Chandler and then like outside of that Chandler. And yeah, I might have a different voice and tone in my messages sometimes, but a student's experience with me should be consistent in whatever setting they see me in. And so this is what I want to encourage you guys with, because when my friend told me this, he said, genuineness will never go out of style. And he said, I don't care. He looked at me and he said, you are one of the most genuine people I know, and that's why I don't think it matters how cool you are or not. You'll never go out of style. And I remember these words, they were really encouraging to me, but they also gave me a lot of freedom, because I always felt like, man, if I'm not super cool with the students and I don't know all the hip lingo and I don't use the word bussin' and lit and finna or whatever, you know, the terms they're using or the games they're playing, and you might look at your students and be like, our generations are so far removed, I don't understand. But I want to encourage you that doesn't matter. I've had leaders tell me this. They're like, I feel like I just don't fit in with the students anymore. And I'm like, you're absolutely right. But that doesn't matter whatsoever. And so here's what I want to encourage you. And this is going to take multiple forms. But if you are genuine in your groups, you will never go out of style, and you will be one of the most loved and respected leaders, regardless of what age you're leading. So here's what this looks like, genuineness in groups. Genuineness in groups come in multiple forms. And the first one is just be you. I think sometimes it's difficult because being you, like you might joke around, and if you're leading, let's say like specifically like a 6th grade group, you might be like, all right, well, in a lot of ways, they're still kids, so it's hard to be fully me, but you need to be able to say, I'm not going to act like a teacher of sorts. I'm not going to be like this weird, like, okay, guys, everyone listen, if that's not how you normally are. The best leader you're going to be is your personality in a leader setting. So if you're more like introverted and you kind of wait for people to speak, this is easier said than done, but it's figure out how you're wired to become the genuine leader you're made to be. So, and maybe even sharing with students, like if you're a listener by nature, you might sit your group down and be like, hey guys, you know this, but I'm not super assertive. I'm not loud, and I don't want to talk over everyone. And so you set ground rules, and that's why we've talked about this stuff in the past, but it's using your strengths as a genuine leader and being like, my strength is listening. So in our group, we're going to spend intentional time listening to one another's victories and what you're being challenged in or what you're learning. And if you interrupt, I'm going to ask you to step outside or something like that, because it's hard for us to listen to one another and hard for me to listen to you and love you guys if we're not listening. So again, you lean into how you operate, how you're genuinely wired. But here's the biggest thing that comes across with genuineness. And I see this a lot in the example of Jesus, and this has forever changed the way I've learned to love. We talked about last week Jesus finds different groups of people and he loves them different ways. But here's what I love about Jesus is Jesus has an ability to cut through the cloud or the perception or the persona that we put on as people, and he cuts right through that. Because every single one of us, we have this persona that we put up to other people. You know, you go, I want to be goofy or outgoing or whatever. And then some of that is real, but then there's also this true self with us. And Jesus had this great way of cutting through that. And we want to be able to do that with students. And so here's what this looks like being genuine, is there's times where you'll look at a student, and if they're causing trouble, we feel like, oh, man, I just have to pretend that this isn't happening and be like, guys, let's listen and just put up with it. But really what these students need is they need genuine love and real conversations. And you're going to gain so much respect by doing this. So this looks like this. It might be awkward at first, but you'll be like, hey, if there's a student that is causing a lot of disruptions, be like, hey, I know that you can be disruptive at times. And I see that a lot of that is because you want your friends' attention and respect and all that, and I love that. And I think that's important, and I think it makes you well-liked, and I think it makes you impactful. But the issue is it distracts other people from learning about Jesus. And what you're doing is you're cutting through the facade they put on, which is like, I'm going to act like I don't care and be rowdy and disruptive and all that stuff. But what you're actually seeing is, hey, I see this in you, and I'm calling you to listen because there's other ways to be well-liked. So I've done this with students before where someone's really disruptive, and I say, and sometimes I'll kind of jokingly be like, you seem to have a hard time paying attention. And I'm like, is that, why is that? And you put them on the spot, sometimes in front of people, and it feels awkward, but what it does is you're having a genuine conversation with them. You're cutting through all of the facade that they put up, and you're going, let's get to the issue at heart, which is why do you feel the need to disrupt? And a lot of times it's because they want to be seen, they want to be heard. And it's like, well, we want to give you that group, but we also want everyone else to feel that. And so sometimes and again, it takes a little bit of perception and noticing things and paying attention to little details like that and why students do what they do. But I just love following that model of Jesus, where you just go, I'm going to be a genuine me. I'm not going to act like a teacher. I'm going to try and find common interests with them, and I'm going to joke with them, and I'm going to be the way I normally interact. And I'm not going to feel like I have to shy away from like who I am. If you tease your friends a little bit, you can tease the students in nice ways, not like, you're stupid or you're unsmart or anything like that. But you can have fun with them. You can joke around with them. You can have a good time. When students feel like you are real, it doesn't matter how much you relate to them or not. They just want you to be real. And again, a part of that is genuine, real conversations. So when you look at your students, and if there's a week where everyone's so disruptive, and you're trying to get through small group questions, and you're like, okay, guys, how would Jesus love at your schools? And everyone's talking over you, and you're like, okay, let's listen. How would Jesus act at your schools? Sometimes you can drop that and just go, all right, let's talk about this. Let's talk about, and you don't, and if it's in a moment of anger, it's not going to come across real or genuine. But if you do it in a very loving way, which is, hey, why is this happening every week? And here's what I'll say too, is it's more difficult when people have all their buddies around them. When people have 3 or 4 friends that are rallying them up, it's harder to get these real moments. But that's why sometimes just in front of the whole group, be like, why is it, I really want to know, why is it so hard for you to pay attention? If it's because you want to be seen and you want your friends to like you, I think they do. But here's ways that we can grow as a group, and even you and your friends can become more mature. And I'm telling you that is so awkward at first, but students aren't used to people treating them like adults and having real conversations. And so when you just cut through the facade they're putting up and you go, let's talk about the issue at hand, why you do what you do, or what's really happening in your life. And this is why if someone brings up something that they're like, my parents got in a fight, or my parents are on the verge of divorce, or whatever it is, and it's stuff that's like real and hard to deal with, don't shy away from that. And you'd be like, man, that must be really hard. Like, how has that affected you? Are you okay? And just genuinely caring and being interested and being willing to dive into the real stuff of life is really going to disarm students and make them be like, all right, this person cares about me, and get to know you better. So I encourage you guys, one of the best ways that you can love your students and improve your group culture is just by being genuine, being genuinely you, having genuine conversations, and not shying away from the awkward topics. Because people don't want to just exist on the surface level for here forever. Students don't just want to exist here on the surface level. They want to know that someone knows the real them, and we can do that by cutting through the facade, just like Jesus did, and saying, let me ask questions about the real you.